Today, news from the front lines of the thrilling and financially risky world of EVE Online. This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint, where it's summer. Though I guess it's summer in the rest of the Northern Hemisphere too, but also here.
Not that you can tell, thanks to liberal application of SPF 1 trillion sunscreen, I think I'm paler now than I was in January.
Remember a few months ago when Vivendi was looking to sell their shares in Activision Blizzard because they needed some cash? They couldn't warrant the sale because, darn it, Activision just makes too much money. But, according to the Financial Times, since it's been 5 years since the Blizz-Activision merger, Vivendi can now appoint people to Activision's board of directors. So apparently, their plan is to stack the board and force the company to take out a big loan so it can pay dividends to its shareholders, the biggest of which is Vivendi. So now they get to have their cake, keeping their shares, and eat it too, getting mad cash. Thankfully, huge companies have pristine track records with loans, so I'm sure this plan is fine.
World of Warcraft is getting an in-game store. You can now buy mounts and pets without leaving the game. But that's not all. You can also buy experience boosts, lesser charms of good fortune, and pay-to-win pills. Whoops, that last one wasn't real. Yet.
PS4 launch title Knack is a platform brawler designed for kids, which led to some unique playtesting to see what it would actually be like for kids to play. By making a custom PS4 controller that is 50% larger than the real thing, they could emulate the small hands of a child gripping a regular controller, and quickly realized kids would have a lot of trouble reaching the shoulder buttons, so they moved all the controls to the face buttons. This also explains the original Xbox controller. It must have just been a scaled-up child's version that snuck through somehow.
Remember EVE Online's tendency to have crazy shit happen? Well, guess what? More awesome crazy shit just happened! Last week, the Pandemic Legion, one of the most powerful combat-oriented coalitions in the EVE universe, was ambushed and in the process may have gained the dubious honor of losing the most money and supercarriers anyone has ever lost, ever, in the history of EVE! So what happened? Well, the Pandemic Legion fleet was called out to respond to what they thought was a fairly standard distress signal. However, it turns out that the Pandemic Legion's fleet commander, Bandwidth H, was actually a cunning double agent working for another coalition called Verge of Collapse. So when the Pandemic Legion arrived, instead of providing assistance, they provided a lot of easy targets for a massive fleet of ships from the Black Legion, the Uran Alliance, and Verge of Collapse. Not only did they lose a Revenant, a supercarrier that is worth more than 11,000 real-world dollars, overall, the ambush put the Pandemic Legion out a staggering 514 billion ISK, approximately 18,300 USD. Wow! I love talking about EVE Online. It's the closest I'll ever get to being a war correspondent.
Square Enix has released a video comparing the Final Fantasy X Remastered Edition to the original. This is a smart move, because you would be forgiven for thinking that the HD remake looks exactly the same as the game did originally, when that's actually your brain applying nostalgia goggles, the everything used to look amazing filter. The comparison aptly demonstrates that Final Fantasy X actually looked like ass and butt. I recommend avoiding original footage of Metal Gear Solid 1 for this same reason.
Hey, you know what else looks like ass and butts? Butts. Butts.
CheckPoint. Journalism.
Coming up. Battleship is now available on Google Glass. Yet another way Google is trying to trick you into walking into a tree.